So today we have Val McFarlane with us. She is a professional counsellor and also one of the directors from the Bullying Intervention Group, also known as BIG. Today she's kindly come to the Leslie link to the YouTube channel to talk about confidence. So here's the interview. Val, thank you very much for coming to the show today. As we discussed previously, it's all about confidence today, and I just wanted to ask you some questions in your professional capacity as a counsellor, and hopefully it can help some of the viewers out there. So at the moment, what would you say, what percentage of people that you provide counselling for are suffering from confidence issues?
Well, I work an awful lot with children and young people as well as adults.
Okay.
And I find that a lot of children and young people do have confidence issues, certainly. I'd say it's more prevalent among teenagers,
Okay.
you know, than the very young ones at primary school. But I find that girls particularly have problems with confidence issues. And as you've said, I also work with children who are bullied, and a lot of, well, the majority of children are bullied about how they look, or, you know, about something about their physical appearance. And obviously, if you're bullied about how you look, it's going to affect your confidence greatly.
Absolutely, yeah, so that's terrible. So unfortunately, it sounds like you speak to quite a lot of people who are suffering these situations with bullying, and obviously leads on to a lack of confidence. Oh, it's really, really sad. And obviously this year, 2020, has been a very strange year for many, many people, and so it continues. We never know when it's going to end. Have you noticed that more people are having confidence issues now with the pandemic? Is that made a huge difference from what you can see?
I think when I've spoken to older people, they found because they haven't been able to get out, some have actually become agoraphobic. They've actually had fear of going out, and found that they, you know, because the world's so scary at the moment, they don't want to come out.
Yeah.
And some younger people, of course, have missed out on all of the social occasions this year. You know, they missed out on the social side. Children have mainly been in school, which has been really good for them, and good, you know, for the social aspect of their life as well.
Yeah.
But they haven't had that, you know, the parties. They've had to have online parties, which are not quite the same. And a lot of young people haven't been able to mix and communicate and learn those vital social skills, which do help your confidence as you're growing up. That's how you develop confidence, by being put into situations, not only in the education sector, but also in the social aspect, you know, that you're going out to parties, that you're invited out to play, you know, and those confidence skills actually do develop over that. So this year, unfortunately, because, you know, we've all had to stay in so much more, it has affected people's confidence, definitely. And I think if you feel scared of anything, you know, that can affect your confidence greatly. And of course, they're scared of the world at the moment, which doesn't help anyone, does it, at all?
Exactly.
So yeah, I do feel that a lot of people have found that their confidence has suffered. And hopefully once we do start being able to get back to normal, you know, this will return as well once they can get out and mix and do all the normal things. I do think that will return. I think it is temporary, but it certainly hasn't helped.
Yeah, and as you say, I mean, it affects all generations, doesn't it? As you said, the older people who have had to stay at home, and some of them obviously been at home since March, I believe, you know, and the children, as you say, they're so used to out playing and what have you. It's such a huge difference. It's a big, like, culture change, I guess, at the moment. So yeah, let's see what 2021 brings. So, and over here, as you know, I'm located here in Spain, and we're a lot more familiar with using the masks. I know obviously in UK people are using masks more now, excuse me, than they used maybe sort of several months ago. But when people are using masks, do you think it affects how they can project their confidence? And do you have any tips to get around this? I mean, can people actually see, you know, and how you're feeling just because they can't see your full face?
Well, the mask is a double-edged sword, really, Sally, when it comes to confidence, because you can hide behind it.
Right,
And I think,
good point, yeah.
you know, so yeah, it's a double-edged sword. So you've got the, you know, not being able to communicate as well as you would without a mask. But I think a lot of young people have found wearing a mask quite liberating, you know, because if they worry about their skin or their skin colour, or, you know, the sort of things that they may get teased about in school, I found that a lot of young people have said, you know, that they like to wear the mask.
Wow,
They feel more confident with,
yeah,
they feel more confident with the mask on. I have to say though, during counselling, there are some schools that I have to wear the mask when I counsel the children and young people. and some schools that don't mind so much so long as we have social distance. There isn't an absolute hard and fast rule from the government on that particular
Right.
issue.
Okay.
And I've found that when I'm meeting a child for the first time and I'm wearing the mask, I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with it. I want a child to see who they're talking to. If I was going to talk to a counsellor, I would want to know what they look like. I know they say that you can smize now, where you smile with your eyes.
Oh, right.
This
I've
new
not heard
term.
about that one yet. Okay.
Yeah, and I think if you pass somebody and they're smiling at you and they've got a mask on, you can kind of tell. You know,
Yeah.
their eyes narrow a little, and you can kind of tell if people are being kind or not. But I think children need to see who they're talking to. It's very, very important. So what I tend to do is just quickly show my face and then, continue the conversation. One little boy laughed his head off when I showed him my face,
Oh, did
which didn't do my confidence much good at all.
You're confident. How funny.
He was only 5.
Oh, bless. Well, we'll let him off then. Yeah.
Yeah, he thought it was hilarious.
Funny moment. Brilliant.
Yeah, but I do like children to know who they're talking to and see me at least, once, just so that they know what I look like, because I just don't think it's fair. But the children don't need to wear masks unless they're moving around the school. So when they're sitting with me, they don't have to have them on. Which I prefer, because I very, very much need to use my emotional literacy in my job. It's so important that I can see the non-verbal communication as it's occurring. I've got to see someone's face. I've got to see what they look like when they're telling me things. I've got to see. I can obviously read their emotions through their face, and with a mask, it's so difficult. But getting back to the double-edged sword thing about the confidence. Yeah, I think it does help. I know this sounds crazy, but I was on a flight in the summer and had to wear a mask. It was lovely to be able to have a little sleep and know that nobody was going to see the fly catching happening. I felt a little bit more confident actually with the mask on there. But I think the children and young people have adapted really well to mask wearing. They don't seem to mind it. And I think it's a necessary evil. We've got to do it. We've got to do it. We've got to keep each other safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it actually, in some ways, some children feel more confident with it on.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. And like you say, it's children are so adaptable. I have a niece who's 9 years old. And I spoke to my mum recently, and she said that she's adapted very easily to it all, really, and wearing the mask, and they've got into a bit of a routine, washing their hands and everything. So it just shows you probably more adaptable obviously than when we're a lot older. So but very interesting about the mask, so thank you about that.
And schools have been really fantastic at handling this. I have to say, you go into schools and it's all, the new normal is very normal. The children know what they're doing. You can see them stopping by the sanitizer, walking in a particular direction around school. At first it felt a little weird, but I go into schools all the time, obviously, and I have to say schools have coped extremely well with this, and therefore the children have. The teachers have been extremely confident in handling the situation, and that's made the children feel confident. They're not terrified of it. They know that they're safe in school, which is great.
That is great. And like you say, logistically for schools, it must have been a lot of work setting everything up and also like checking everything constantly, But from what I've heard as well, they've done such an incredible job, as you say. So that's So coming back to the confidence area of things, if you would class yourself as a shy person in general, what could you do to sort of make yourself seen and heard in a group of confident people? So if you're very, very shy, that could be quite a thing that really sort of, I don't know, limits you in some ways, I would say.
Yeah, well, I've got some really interesting advice I give to children, which I found has worked, and to adults. If you don't feel confident, look it. Okay. So I can show them how important non-verbal communication is, how important body language is. And just the other day I did this with a little girl. I walked out of the room and back in twice, and she said it was like 2 different vowels.
Wow.
She said the first vowel, I do the really shy and, walking, looking around, looking scared, and, I sit down like this. The second one, I breeze in, all confident. And she says it's like watching 2 different people.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's what it would be like if you looked like that.
Yeah.
people would think you were confident. Then people will act as if you're more confident and include you more in conversations and make you part of their group more, instead of you sitting on the edge.
Yeah.
And then you will be more confident because you're being included. So do you see what I mean? It's like, it's a cycle. I once worked with a child that was he was bullied in a primary school. So instead of working with the child, I didn't know about him at the time, he was immediately moved by mum to another primary school. Okay. So when he went to the second primary school, his body language screamed, bully me. I know it's awful, but it did. He might sort of had a label across his forehead saying bully me, because he was terrified. And bullies sense terror. They pick their victims very, very carefully. They're not going to go for the confident, tough guy. They're going to go for the one that's scared. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that can happen for a bully in a bullying situation is that they come off worse. So he just looked like the perfect victim. He walked into that school the perfect victim. And of course he got bullied again, which lowered his confidence even more, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Then he was moved to another school and so on, till I think he went to 3 primary schools. When he went to the secondary school, he was with all the children that had bullied him in all of the 3 primary schools, because of course they were all grouped together in one year group. And his confidence was literally rock bottom. He wasn't even attending school at that point. So I used to go to his house and teach him how to walk up and down his living room.
Oh, wow. That's
with his shoulders back.
Yeah.
With his head up. You know, I showed him how he was walking and how he should be walking. I showed him how to look like you mean it. Even if you don't yet, just look like you mean it. And we did that. We walked up and down his living room until he looked like he had a little swagger. He looked like one of the guys, you know. And it's a shame we had to change him, but we did, because it wasn't helping him. That, you know, life had changed him, and you know, he was a small guy. He was the type that may get bullied anyway. Anybody can be bullied, but you know, he had been picked on, and we got that guy swaggering. And I said, let's get you back to school. Let's see how it goes. And do you know what? He got back to school and he was fine. He was accepted. Yeah, the bullies left him alone. He was okay. So my advice is, look like you mean it, even if you don't yet.
It's a bit like the old fake it till you make it, isn't it? As they say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
That's what you do. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. And obviously I taught this through with them. I don't just say, look confident, you'll be fine. You know, that's not fair. We talk it through. We talk through their fears. We talk through, you know, what it is that they're scared of and what could happen, and I teach them resilience, of course, as well. You know, and how to cope with situations. It's not just go in there, look like you mean it, you'll be fine, because that would be silly, but it helps. The body language is so important. Confidence is all about your body language, really. Because you portray how you feel. How you look is how you feel.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? End of the day.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can never get a second chance to make a first impression. Your body language, your body language as you walk into an interview or a new class at school or a new group of friends, a party, everybody has decided within the first 10 seconds what type of person you are. Just before you even speak.
Yeah, just 10 seconds. And then, you know, if you think about it, that's mad. It's completely mad, because possibly you're having a bad day or just not feeling very well. You don't even think about how you're projecting yourself when you arrive somewhere. So 10 seconds. Wow.
And don't you think, Sally, sometimes you've kind of stereotyped, you've met someone and within the first 10 seconds you've decided what they're like, and you actually get to know them and discover that they're not like that at all. They're very different to how you thought they were.
No, you're quite right. And in fact, you remind me of an incident I had at university many years ago. And there was this girl I ended up living with in the final year university. But she told me in the final year that when she met me in the first year, that she thought I was arrogant. And she said, the first conversation I had with you, she said, I was telling you about traveling around the world, and she said, I thought you were so uninterested in me. And she said, then I realised that, you know, it's just your way when you first meet somebody, into them intently. And I realised you're the most arrogant person I know. So
that's it. First impression. So you did get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah, I was okay.
But it was just as she got to know you. I once met a girl, a friend brought a friend out, and she was extremely rude. You know, I complimented her on her clothes, tried to make her feel welcome because she was sort of new to our social group,
Yeah.
and she was just rude, very standoffish. And
Yeah.
I said to my friend, does she need to come out with us again? And do you know, now I know her like years and years on, and she's fabulous. It was shyness.
Yeah, there you go. You see, back to the confidence issue as well. Just moving on to the last question then today, really. I guess you sort of covered it in the last question, but maybe we've got you here today, so obviously any advice you can give us is great. What is one piece of expert advice that you would give to somebody who lacks confidence to give them an instant boost?
Well, the instant boost obviously is, look like you mean it, but you've got to think about what it is that you're not confident about. What is it? Is it about yourself? Is it about the people that you're going to be with? You see, sometimes people can be confident in certain situations and not in others. I've got friends who would be very confident in my social group, but if they had to go for a job interview,
yes,
they would come across as, and they just wouldn't feel confident at all. So think about, are you always not confident? Is it something that, you just lack confidence per se?
Yeah.
And in that case, you need to work on your self-esteem. And seeing a counsellor can help that a lot, because you can look at the things about you that you would like to change if you could. And then, there's an awful lot of work can be done around self-esteem. Too much, obviously, to go into now, but there's a lot of work that can be done. Is it a particular thing that makes you not confident? Obviously, I'm a psychotherapist as well, so I deal with people that are terrified of certain situations. I worked with a lady who was terrified of dogs. So it really was stopping her from being able to go out for walks, stopping her from being able to, she wouldn't even go to shops because she was scared there'd be a dog outside. You don't realise a little thing like being terrified of dogs can actually really, really impact on your life. So I worked with her confidence around dogs. So look at my big answer to that would be, look at what it is that's making you not feel confident. Is it about a particular situation that you're not confident, like flying or dogs or insects or birds? I've even known someone scared of birds. Imagine how much that can impact on your life. If you're scared of birds, where can you go? So a lot of things like that. So, or is it just that you do not feel confident? There's something about you that you hate. Is it something you can change? If it's going to make you feel better. I worked with a girl many years ago that had a birthmark on her face, really big one, about this size, and she got a lot of teasing about it at school. She was now a teenager, beautiful girl, a lovely girl inside now. I'm still really friendly with her, and she said, if this would go, I'd be fine. If I could just get rid of this, I'd be fine. There literally was a magic solution to that. And because it was such a large birthmark, she had to have several operations until it was completely gone. But now she's got teeny silver line, and she's in her 20s and she's got a child. But that was a simple solution. It was just her plucking up the courage to go, and do it. And a lot of people should say, well, why should she change her face? Why should she change just to suit other people? But it wasn't. It was for her.
Exactly.
Because all of us know it. Yeah, if we look our best, we usually feel our best. And that was something that, so there was a magic solution to that. But usually, work on what it is and look like you mean it, even if you don't, because you will eventually.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming today. It's been very short and sweet, but thank you so much, Val, for coming. And as I mentioned in the intro, you also, obviously, you are as a professional counsellor, but you're heavily involved in also BIG. Could you tell us just a little bit more about that just before we go, so our viewers can hear?
BIG is Bullying Intervention Group. We've been established for 10 years now. We're a not-for-profit organisation. We don't receive any outside funding at all. What we do, schools or any place that children have to go to or want to go to, so it could be a brownie pack, it could be a children's home, a school. It is mainly schools that get involved. They can sign up for a yearly membership, and for that we don't charge a lot. We charge the minimum we possibly can. For a primary school under 500 pupils, it's £182 a year, 10% of which we give to Kidscape, which is a big national charity that endorses us. For a huge secondary school, the biggest over 1,200 pupils, it's £424 a year. But for that, they get loads and loads of anti-bullying resources. We've got a huge anti-bullying toolkit. We've got a reporting tool to use in schools. We've got audits every year that they can use, lots of advice information. They can also go for the big award, which is for excellence in challenging bullying. So we set them 9 tasks to do. There are 9 criteria. And if they can meet all of the criteria on a yearly basis and submit an online, simple to use portfolio, they then receive a logo saying that they've achieved excellence in challenging bullying, a certificate that they can print and put wherever they want, and a lovely wall plaque to put in reception. So it's really nice, and we've helped a lot of schools. Schools have said, this is brilliant because we know that we have to do anti-bullying, but we don't know what to do. You just give us a plan, an action plan, and we fulfill it, and we even have a reward. So yeah, that's Bullying Intervention Group.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And what we'll do is I'm going to add at the bottom of the YouTube video some contact details so people can get hold of Big, and maybe perhaps they'd like to start in their school or, as you say, Brownie Group or wherever. So thank you so much for coming today. Really appreciate it. And thanks very much, Val. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
So thank you for watching, everybody. It was great to speak with Val today. If you'd like to see more videos from the YouTube channel for the Leslie link, then please don't forget to subscribe. And also, if you select the bell for notifications, you'll be informed when I have my next video out. Take care, everybody. Bye.